Today we are doing a session on becoming a course ninja, chop chop. And I am Jane Solis, and I am a senior documentation manager with Learn on Demand Systems. And I have worked with the TMS for a very, very long time. So I'm happy to be here talking to you about this morning. We are recording the session, just so you know that. And we would appreciate it if you would mute your mics and turn off any video recording as well. And we will have a question and answer time at the end of the session. So if you can hold on to some questions to ask verbally at the end of the session, that'll be great. If not, we have Sharon Finzel here, and she is very, very, very knowledgeable. And you can input questions in the chat during the session, and she'll be able to handle them there. So I'm turning off my video now. And let's move on. So post and you could win. You can post a picture of yourself or with you in it or without you in it, and post it out to LinkedIn, Twitter, or Facebook, and tell them that you're attending Launch Q4. And tag Learn on Demand Systems. We have the tags at the bottom there of the slide if you want to do that. And you might be able to win a gift card. And we are willing to pay for your advertisement. So on we go. Today we're going to be talking about different ways to create, well, things that are available when you create a course. And we're going to start with creating a basic course and then talk a little bit about publishing groups. We're going to move on to course activities and setting those up. Then we'll look at scheduling a course and editing the course after it has been scheduled. And then we're going to look at all the other little lab tabs and features in there. So, well, what is a course? Basically, a course is a container that holds the activities that are used in training, either for instructor-led training or self-paced training, or both. And it is a necessary piece in our TMS for a class to be created and or a course assignment or subscription to be created. So that's how the students are going to get access to labs. You're going to put the labs as course activities. Those course activities, those courses are then added into the training method that you want to deliver, and then the students are added to that training delivery, either through a class or through a course assignment. So let's take a look at creating a course. And I want. Okay, so we're on the Create Course page, and we are going to just go through and talk about how to create a basic course. And when I mean basic course, I mean like what is the bare minimum that you need in order to actually put a course into the TMS. And there really isn't a whole lot that you have to have. And I'm not going to be adding activities or anything. We're going to do that later. But you could use something like this as a way to create classes without labs so that you can schedule classes in the system and have them there to for other sessions that you're holding that don't have labs. So we're just going to say what sample, whoopsie. On to the right, sample course for launch. And I'm just putting a name in the name field. It's one of those required fields. I'm going to skip down to organization. The organization here is the owner of this course, and the people in that organization who can create a course or edit a course are the ones who can come in and make changes to it. It doesn't have anything to do with who has access to schedule the course. The program you're going to use is training, and programs, not very many organizations use other programs. So I think you might not even have a choice for that. We're just going to, by default, the system always adds a duration of 5 days onto a course and training days onto the course. The training days actually come across on a class. When you are in a class, it is going to, I have a class here somewhere. I think it's you. Nope, I was wrong. Wow, I have I don't know where my class is. So on a class, when you go into the sessions, it's automatically going to take that training day number and it's going to pop it into the number of sessions that will be created. So by default, it's going to pull this number and you can change that on the class. It's not, set in stone or anything. Our content provider is at this point a necessary item. We are still using this in our billing department. And so it is a necessary evil at the moment, and it should be going away in the future someday. But you'll have to come in here and choose a content provider. For the most part, you'll probably only have a content provider that matches your organization name. It can also, yeah. So, and you can use that for anything and everything that you have, but we do have to have it in there. Let's see. I'm going to scroll on down here to some of the checkboxes. Available instructor-led and available self-paced. These set up your course to be able to be scheduled either as an instructor-led class or as a self-paced course assignment. And one thing you can do is by unchecking both of these, actually, it will not be able to be scheduled. And when you go in, if you have a course catalog, this kind of does a strange little thing. If you have a course catalog, you see this coming soon icon. When both of those are unchecked and you do have a course catalog showing what courses you have, it'll come up with this coming soon icon so that you can show courses that you have that will be coming in the future. But if you only want it to be available for classes, you would just check available instructor-led. If you only want it to be available for self-paced training, you would only check available self-paced. And I'm going to check both of these. There are a couple of other things that also control whether or not a course is available for to be put into a class or course assignment. And we'll be talking about that as archiving and publishing groups in just a minute. So I'm going to save. That is all you really need at this point. And save for me. There we go. And you'll see now that this course must be added to a publishing group to be available for use. So that's one of those other pieces that have to be in place before it's going to be available. And if you look up here, you can see I have a Find Classes link and I have a Find Course Assignments link, but I don't have the Create Class link or the Create Course Assignment link. And I won't get that unless I have that available self-paced or available instructor-led along with a publishing group set up for it. So what's a publishing group? Until you have a publishing group, it's not available to be scheduled. And once you have scheduled and have added as a class and added an enrollment, or you've set it up as a course assignment, you're going to get a change in what is available for we've locked down a lot of things in terms of availability, so you may not be able to make the changes that you want. We'll talk about that in detail later. But what a publishing group is, what it does is it manages the availability of courses to organizations. So if you're an organization and you're creating your own and using your own courses, but you're not selling those courses to anyone else, then all you have to do is set the publishing group with your organization name. It should be the only one available to you, and move on. And the publishing group is under the availability tab, and it shows you I can add my publishing group. When I search, I actually have a couple that is there, but I'm going to use the TMS one because that's the one I use, and say okay. And now when I save it, I'm going to actually not see that message anymore, and I can create a class and I can create a course assignment from here now. Some organizations need the publishing groups in order to create their courses and sell them to other organizations. And this allows them to set up publishing groups with content and assign the organization that should have access to that content. And we'll also be using publishing groups as a means of billing and setting different items for it in the future. So now I have my basic, very, very basic course set up with a publishing group, and it's ready to go. I could create a class from it. I could create a course assignment from it. I can do all sorts of happy things with it. But we're going to go in and look at activities and how to use our different activities that are in there. So, activities tab. With our activities tab, we have several links in here that allow us to add different types of activities. The first one here is to add a section, and the section is just actually putting in a heading that allows you to set different categories or just structure the activities that are in the course for your students to be able to understand it better. This is section 1. This actually isn't going to show unless you use the links within it or add activities to it. So until you add an activity, it actually isn't going to show as a header anywhere. So if I'm going to add activities into my section, I'm going to have to click in here to do it. And I'll show you how to move them around later. So I can come in and choose a SCORM module, for instance. So if I choose a SCORM module, let's do my demo SCORM, it's going to add it in here, and you can actually see that it is within that block for the section as opposed to outside the section. And what's SCORM? So let's talk a little bit about SCORM. SCORM is a way for you to develop content or videos. And once you have that content or video created, you can wrap it in SCORM as a module, and that allows a learning management system to read the content and be able to use it. So if you want, you can create SCORM inside the TMS. From here, you can go in and create a SCORM module. And once you have created it, uploaded it, you can see we use SCORM 1.2. It has to be in a zip file and it can't be larger than 1 gig. And once you do that, you can come in here and set up all of your preferences on that SCORM module and have it available to be added as a course activity. So you can manage those yourselves, and there is no charge for the storage on SCORM. So the different items that are available for you to put in place on SCORM is duration. So I can say maybe I have a video in there and it's 30 minutes. And I can choose who it's available to, either to everyone or only to instructors. So everyone is your students, and instructors only would be only those instructors. You can choose to have required for course completion input in here. And that means that this activity or any of the activities that you choose are required for the course to be considered complete. This actually registers in the system for course assignments. So at the end, a course assignment has to have all of the required items completed in order for that course assignment to register as complete. In a class, you may have other activities or things outside of the system, so we allow you to set whether or not the enrollment was completed or not. And this required for course completion is something that tracks on the progress bar on the enrollment, on the course assignment, and only the required courses are added in there as an item that registers as progress on the bar. So I might have 10 activities in there and only require 5 of them. If they finish the 5 that aren't required, it's not going to show any progress on the bar for them. So I can choose then on SCORM, by default, it's not going to be set as available instructor-led. And that is because probably you have an instructor who's going to be talking through a bunch of different stuff instead of having them show a video of someone talking through a bunch of stuff. But you can choose still to have it available instructor-led. And by default, we do have available self-paced for SCORM. And you can see when I add that available instructor-led, I get this item to assign to students manually. So what does that mean? That means that I can actually set this up so that an instructor can choose who gets to use that activity. So if I use assign to students manually, if I don't use it, we have it set by default not to be used. And if it's not used, then everybody in the class sees that activity and can take that activity. If you have it set to assign to students manually, the instructor himself is going to have to go out and actually assign that activity to each user. So let's see if I have this one set up that way. Nope. Yeah, I do. So down here, you can see I'm in a class, and these are class activities. And I have this view activity access down here. And this is what shows up when you have that assign activities manually. And until an activity is actually assigned to a student, no one can see the activity except for the instructor and any student that it is assigned to. So only Laura's student in this class would be able to see this activity on her enrollment. And until that is actually assigned, no one can see it. So for instance, I can see it as this one as student Jane, but not the other one as, but not the LTI activity. And I do have student Jane here, so I can show you that. What was the class? Helps to know the name of the class, doesn't it? Course creation launch. There you go. So when I come down here as the student, and here's your progress bar, I have 1 of 2 activities completed. And I have more activities, like this one is not required. And you can see I have the sample color assessment here, and I can take it, but I don't have that LTI activity that was right above it, and I can't see that it exists even as the student. And we'll come back down here and I'll show you those activities again. So the LTI activity sample was not in there at all, but my color sample was because it's been assigned to me. Okay, so you have the ability to have instructors do that. It might be helpful for things like if you have multiple assessments attached to a class, they could assign different students to take different assessments so that they're not all getting the same one. We also put it in place for shared labs so that when a participants have 2 different labs or more than 1 different lab in there, they can assign it so the students aren't confused about which lab that they're supposed to use. The next link in here is to add a lab. And we're just going to choose whatever's on top. And I've not added this into the section, so you can see it's separate from that section there. And it automatically pulls the duration time over from Lab on Demand. And you can choose the availability on here as well. Again, we have required for course completion, available instructor-led, available self-paced, and the assigned to students manually. And our new one here is allow retakes. So this was put in for exams. And if a user completes a lab, then they cannot reopen it again if you have this unchecked. So they would not get the launch button if you're not allowing retakes. So with allow retakes, they can open a new lab after they've completed it and retake the lab as many times as they want. The add video, add document, and add external link are essentially the same thing. Each of them has the name, the URL, description. All of this is the same. The only thing different about them is the little icon. So for the video, we get a video looking icon. For a document, we get a little document looking icon. And for external link, we get these linked chains. But everything in it is identical. Let me get rid of those two. And in here, you'll have to put in a name for, this is a video. And you'll have to put in a URL. So we'll add a link for whatever it is that you are sending them off to. And if you'd like, why didn't you like my, oh, I missed the H on there. Let me see. And if you'd like, you can put in a description about what that item is about. And again, you can add however many 20 minutes for the, or whatever it is for the duration of it. Again, you can require for course completion, instructor-led, instructor self-paced, assigning to the student manually. And the new one here is to open a new window. And I'll tell you, for anything YouTube, you really do need to check the open a new window or it won't open. But some things will work as embedded, but I would double check that anytime you add it, just to make sure that it does work correctly. But open a new window is always there and works well. Our next guy is adding an assessment. So an assessment is a multiple choice assessment evaluation for you. You can add them for pre-class checks on students. You can add them for checks on different activities, and you can add them for, after class to see how well they've done. An assessment essentially is multiple choice questions, and they're either going to have multiple answers applied in them or only one answer that is applied. And with the assessment, you can also add in why the answer is correct or why the chosen answers are correct. And as well, you can add an information or a URL in there, and the student can then go to that other place and read up and as a resource on why that information is correct or incorrect and learn more about that topic. So that's what assessments do. And you can always go in and find the assessment responses and see how people did on those assessments as well. You can see all who did it, what their scores are. And then you can also go to details and actually look at that specific assessment information and what that person answered. So my correct answers are bold and underlined in green. I can see what answers were selected by the student over here by the check boxes. And if they answered something incorrectly, it'll show with a red line under it. And that is what it was, incorrect. So that is kind of looking at your assessment information. So you can input assessments in the TMS, and then you can add them in for your students to take. So we're going to say this takes 5 minutes at the most. And here again, we have a couple of new options. One is allow well, I guess we had allow retakes on the lab, so that's not necessarily new, but we also have allow review. So you can choose whether or not they can retake the assessment or review the assessment. And let's go back to my student. And here's the assessment that my student took. And if I want to, I can review it, and I'm going to see exactly what we saw before. I can see what my score was. I can see the green and the red and which answers I chose. And I can also see the score out here. And I can also retake it. So I can take that, that assessment over again and answer those items again without any, and it'll always show me the highest score that was given to the student there on the lab activity or on the assessment activity. Okie dokie. What's after assessments? LTI resource link. LTI resource link allows you to add an activity that takes the student over to a third-party item, and it allows them to take that without knowing that they've moved over to a third party. It also provides a secure link over there because you have to add a secret and create those activities in there in the TMS with that link them over. The last one we have, I actually could add an LTI resource if I want. So that would open up, and it has the same items as a lab does. The last item that we have available to add onto courses are Microsoft Learn activities. These were supplied by Microsoft and available to anyone to use. And you can see they have quite a few ones. So you can use any of their activities as resources in your course and have people work with those in order to increase their knowledge as you wish. So let's go ahead, and those are activities and how we put them in place and how we use them. And let's go ahead and save our course. So I mentioned before that if you, I don't want to do this now. If you create a course and you set it up to be edited, or you set it up and use it to schedule a class, and then you have added an enrollment, or you create a course assignment, which is immediate, it's going to lock things down for editing. And when you do that, I'm going to come out here and get a different course for you because I don't want to lock this one down for editing. Okay, so when I come in here, so as it says, this course has been delivered by a class or a course assignment and some fields cannot be changed. If you need to update the content, we recommend using the Save As button to create a new version of the course for future deliveries. So this is related to billing, and we do realize that we overdid this in terms of locking things down. So in the next quarter, we'll be reducing the number of items that are locked down. You'll be able to come in and anything that isn't related to billing, you're going to be able to edit. But right now you can see that it is severely locked down. You don't have a lot of options of what you can do. I can't change anything, much of anything at all. And what it's advising you to do is to basically clone the course. So if you, in the future, even if you need to change your lab activities, because if you changed or added or removed lab activities on a course that's already been scheduled, it could change the billing for your students and your your course assignments and all that by the time that we go in and bill it. So you can clone a course by opening that course and clicking Save As. And once you have clicked Save As, you'll get this, the course name with copy after it. And we're just going to go with, if I can hit the right keys, we will go with version 3 and hit Save. And now that's going to open up my copied webinar. Really? Didn't keep my name? That was rude. And you can come in and start putting in all the other information that's available here. So I could change my activities. It's brought them all over. Anything that I've set up already is copied over here. And you would be able to schedule items, future items, or things that have not started with this course. You could change it out on a course if the class has not started. And that kind of item. So you can go ahead and make changes and then start creating more classes from it. Let's go over the fields that we haven't talked about. First is a short name. That's an optional thing. You can say, maybe I just want to say webinar in here, and I can choose to have versioning in here in place, and I can use it. You can write a course description. This is a limited number of characters and it's always going to come across as very simple text. If you need a more detailed description or you want to format your description, you can use the HTML description. You have the code, source code in here that you can add. You can add things like links and images and stuff, whatever you want, or you can use some simple formatting here with the tool that's already there. And those both show up, or only whatever description you put in shows up on the course when you have it in there. You can use keywords for searching, and that'll be a search in any of the Find Course page or on any of the course chooser pages. You can add a profile image, so you can add a picture in, and these show in any kind of course catalog or subscription catalog, and like all of these blue tiles here on the top, all the blue are images, the red and the green are images as well. So it kind of makes it look nicer. Oops, here we are. We talked about those, content provider. Discussion is an item that you can add in on a course. And when you do, it allows any user that has a course assignment, an enrollment, or an instructor to be able to participate in a discussion, which is to post different chats. So if as a student, I had an enrollment and I went into a discussion there. And from here, you control what topics are available, and they can add topics in here. You can add people as moderators, and they can input questions, answer questions, bring up topics, and people can respond to them. So you can have different responses going on in there. And we have not much in here because that's us. So you can talk about those different things in the students as a student, instructor, or moderator. We have custom fields that are available for courses. And as a very simple custom field, I can show you. Let's go out. And on the course tile, you have the ability to add a course custom field. The one we had in there was multiple checkboxes. So I'm going to come over to the corner and do a create custom field here. And you'll go in and you'll name it, and you can choose what entity it goes with. You can have custom fields for courses, classes, users, subscription profiles, tracks. And then you can choose what type of custom field you're putting in. It can be just a free text box. It can be a drop-down list, one single check box, multiple check check boxes, a number field, or you can even add a user selector by role. And you can choose where it displays. You can go directly on my advanced tab or basic information, or I can choose to create a new tab for my and it was for my course, and it would show up on its own little tab on the far right. If you have multiple custom fields, you can choose the sort order, and custom fields always show beneath all of the normal fields. So, and then you would be able to say which field appears as the first, second, third from there. And you can choose, oops, if I had a text box, you'll have different choices based on what it is. You can also choose whether or not it cascades to a class from a course. So if there's information on the course that you want added to every class, you can choose to use a custom field to do that. And then you would be able to input your choices. You can choose what organizations can use that in your organization structure. And you can also choose who sees it or who can edit it. If you don't choose anything, then it's available to anybody who can see that entity. If you choose ones, then you can choose who it is that can see it but not touch it or edit it. And be careful if you're using a required on that, because making it a required field, because you could people may not be able to see that, and then they won't be able to make changes, and they won't know why they can't on the custom field, and it won't let you save it if the required field isn't filled in. So you have the ability to add those kinds of fields in there. Archived allows you to archive a course, and what an archived course does is it is another thing that prohibits it being used in a class to schedule a class or a course assignment. So once it's archived, it does not prohibit anybody who is already assigned the course. Course assignment has an enrollment in a class, a new class that's coming up in the future. It doesn't change anything for any of them. They can still, the students are still going to get post-class access. The course is still going to be in a class to run in the future. The course assignments are not affected whatsoever, but it does prevent that course from being scheduled again. And you can also set auto archive dates. And if you're using the auto archive, that lets you say, hey, I know that in the 1st of January, I'm going to have a new course in, and I don't want to have to remember to come in and archive this course. When you do set an auto archive date, it is going to restrict scheduling. And it's going to give warnings like, oh, in 30 days, this course is going to be retired. Are you sure you want to use it? So you may want to go out and look for another course. And if you try to schedule it after the archive date, it will prohibit it from happening. So you can use that auto archive date to control things there. And we talked about instructor-led and self-paced, showing on a course catalog. If you have a course catalog set up, you can choose whether or not a course shows on it. If you want a course catalog set up, you can request that from our support team. Featured is another item that shows on the course catalog. So once I click featured, it's going to let me say when I want that featured item to expire. It shows not only in the, nope, we don't have any featured here. You're all coming soon. So featured shows at the top of any of the items that are out there. And then after the featured ones are finished, which apparently they go on forever, they'll start showing alphabetically. And you can set those featured dates and when you get to see them. Enabling simple course feedback. It inputs this feedback field on the bottom of the course, on the bottom of a class enrollment, on the bottom of a course or in a course assignment on a tab. And that allows them to say things like, hey, I like that class. No, I didn't like that. And leave feedback on it as well. And when they do that, they can, you can look at your course feedback from the courses tile, and you can go to find course feedback, and do a search, and it will, let's do this, and it will show when it was created, what course it was feedback on, what they put in for a title, what they put in for content, whether it was positive or negative, who did it, what kind of delivery they had with a course assignment, class, or anything else. And it can be connected directly to an activity, not just to the entire class or course. So you can get different information back on that from course feedback. Enable achievements for outside organizations. This only works for you if you are publishing courses to other organizations and you have achievements that are set up for them to earn achievements or earn badges. So that doesn't apply to many people. We talked about activities, we talked about availability, prerequisites. How am I on time? Prerequisites allow you to add a prerequisite for the course. So that I have to have finished or completed another course before I can take this course. And you can choose what kind of requirement they have. They either have to be completed or have credit, or they could just be enrolled in this course and then they can take in the Did You Know, and then they could take the LODS webinar course, or they have to have started the prerequisite course and then they can take the course or completed it or been given credit for it. You can give credit on a user profile for courses. And you can say what's blocked, whether or not they can be enrolled, if it's going to block enrollment, or if it's just going to block their launching the activities because they haven't completed the prerequisite yet. So they could be enrolled, but they can't launch anything until it's completed. Course tags. Course tags allow you to do several things. One is you can just create course tags for yourself on your courses in order for a lookup item. It also allows you to do things like create filters for course catalogs, for subscriptions, and you can choose to do things like set a course tag group. You have to set a course tag group in order for it to show on a catalog. Name it something like this, availability, and then you have all the course tags that end up setting up as filters. And when you then choose which ones apply to that course, it will filter for those, filter for it as a search result in the catalog, the class browser, or the subscription if you've added it there. Completion certificates can be added onto a course. It is something you need to come into the course and create. You have to upload a template for it. And once you have that uploaded, you can actually go ahead and attach them to the course. And then any class based on that course or course assignment based on that course will have the certificate available to be used. If I go in here, I think I can preview it. So you'd want to put in, and this is the course certificates pull the information for the student name from the student profile, and it pulls all the course information, length, and training days from the course itself. And we need to get your when you get that, you're going to be able to see your certificates. Mine should be pretty blah. Yeah. So you can add whatever you want in your profile and set it up and check it out because sometimes they move around. We do have advice on how to create a completion certificate template in our help. And subscriptions, we added the ability to add a subscription profile here on the course for convenience so you don't have to go straight to the subscription to add a course when you're creating it. Presenters are presenters. So if you're looking at a course, oops, oh, I have to be in a class. If you're looking at a class, you'll be able to see presenters on it, or if you're looking at a course assignment, let's see, that one will have presenters, so that the student would have more information about the people that are giving you information. It's especially helpful on self-paced training. So you can add some information and qualifications and different things on who it is that's out there talking about the presenting information for the user. And let's go back to after presenters. This is one of the custom fields that I created, and it's just got a checkbox. So this is a new tab that came up because I added a new tab for my custom field. And advanced. So on your organization calendar, you can choose what color that course would turn up with. An external ID is actually an ID you have in your system for that course, and you can add it in here in order to be able to track it. And surveys, you can add an organization, instructor, or student survey directly to a course, and that will feed down into any class created from it. And then you can have the ability to change that at the class level if you'd like. We have self-assignment and self-enrollment options that most of you will never want to use, but some of you may. So it is available from the course. It is available on a class, and that can be used for things like it can also be used with a subscription. So if I'm using self-paced learning and in a subscription, and I want the user to be able to assign it, it might require, you might be able to, you may want to require that it's in a subscription and not available outside of that. So they can't just go to a course catalog and self-enroll to it or self-assign. These are actually used with roles that are given to the student. So both the class or the course and the student have to have permissions to do this. Allowing recordings. On recordings, actually, if you allow, everybody allows recordings, they do get 180 days access by default. You can change that. When you have allow supplemental recording access on here, it gives you, not you, where are you? Yeah, there we are. It gives you the ability to assign the listening to the recordings to other users. So normally when you come in, it shows just this top section where there is a recording and you have the ability to watch it. Once you turn on supplemental access, you can change the availability not just to enrolled students, but to anybody in the organization, any authenticated user, or anyone at all. You can also just assign specific people to be able to watch the recording, or you can do it by role. So you could say, I want all my instructors to be able to watch this recording. And if I am looking at that recording or I have access to it, I can get to it from my transcript. And on the transcript, I can come all the way down to the bottom here, and I have the ability to get to the recording from here. So that is where that is once it's there. 2 more and we're done. Course assignment requires valid subscription. So this is like the self-assignment requires a subscription. So you can't open or have a course assignment for that unless it's in a subscription or the user has a valid subscription. And allowing anonymous access to the course details page. When you have this checked, you can share a URL for the course details page, and that can look at it without logging in. So that is courses. Yay, team. Let's take a look at our resource slide. So resources, if you want more information on courses, you can go to lods.one/one-stop-shop. It will take you into our help resources and documentation on courses. We'd love for you to share your feedback with us. We have where you entered the classroom and went into our virtual meeting. There, if you go back to that page, there's an activity in your enrollment that lets you add an evaluation. I believe that Jenny is also going to put one in our chat, a link to it, so you can do that straight from the chat here. If you have a feature request or something that you want that you're not seeing in the TMS, you can go to lods.one/feedback, and you can look at other people's ideas and vote on them. And you can also enter your own ideas for things that you would like to see. And once again, don't forget to post a picture on social media and tag us, and you could win big. Okie doke. I think I've overshot myself here.